Hey everyone, happy
What's going on,
Monday.
guys?
It's the Monday Rundown. Welcome to Say That channel. If this is the first time that you're with us, we are super excited to have you with us. This is something that Winston and I love to do. We love to personal development and continuous learning and growth.
Yeah.
And so this is one of the reasons why we love the Monday Rundown, is so that way we can bring this to you guys.
So if you guys are brand new, make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so that you guys are aware of when we're bringing out new content. And so after that, let's jump into today's topic.
Are bad habits controlling your life?
Yes. No,
Okay.
but seriously.
So I think that, yes, I think the answer is yes. It's probably controlling many of our lives.
In some areas.
In some areas. And I've heard, I forget who, if you know who said what I'm about to say, please put in the comments. Of course, Winston, if you know, you can just say it. But
yeah,
like, show me your habits and I'll show you the type of person you are. Right? Like, what are your daily rituals? What are the things that you do on a consistent basis? And I can tell you exactly the type of person you are, how successful you are, whether it's in business or in your relationships. Like,
I want to say Tony Robbins, but I don't think, but I don't think I don't know if it came from him, but I've heard him make a statement with that. Show me your habits and I'll show you. What was the rest of what you said, Jay?
Show me your habits and I'll show you the type of person you are.
Okay, go ahead.
And I may be butchering that. It might be a little bit different. Anyway, put that in the comments. If you know exactly what that is supposed to be, let us know. But that's the whole like premise of it, is that like your continued habits, your continued rituals,
that's what it is.
If you make those things good, if you will, good meaning like if they lead to positive outcomes, then you'll have a lot of positive outcomes in your life. But if they're bad habits, meaning that they don't result in positive outcomes, then you're not going to have a lot of positive outcomes in your life either. So I'm going to give an example. When I am feeling stressed, I pick at the cuticles on my thumbs. It is this thing that I do. My closest friends know it. They see me doing it and they'll tell me to stop. I have tried several times to try and stop doing it, but like I continue to do it. And I know it's a bad habit. It doesn't look pretty. I'm sure when men want to date me, they may look at my thumbs and be like, I don't know. I don't know. Wow. What's going on with this one? I don't know. But yeah, so I just know bad habits can definitely, based on what I was saying earlier, just the things that you do that create positive or negative outcomes in your life can kind of show you like the type of person that you are. So I definitely think they have an impact on our life. I think they do control the trajectory of our life and the outcomes that we ultimately get.
So the quote is, show me your habits and I'll show you your future. It doesn't say, I don't know who exactly says it. So guys, throw that in the comments if you do find that or do know that. And I will say, I definitely think bad habits are controlling certain aspects of maybe all of our lives, because I think in some areas you're probably not getting the success. And if you look to your habits, and the quote that Tony Robbins says, and I think you said it, Janelle, was he mentioned something about your rituals. Like, if you show me your rituals, then I'll show you your results. And then he'll talk about people kind of mystify things. But he goes, if you look at a person who is 55 and they're in amazing shape, he goes, that person's ritual is they probably work out 5 to 6 times a week. They probably eat certain foods. They sleep a certain amount of hours every night. He goes, it's not magic. He goes, it's just their rituals. Their rituals are dictating the results they have. So I would say if there's an area of your life that you are not getting results that you want, you probably have some poor habits or rituals in that area. And if you just implement different ones, you probably get a different outcome. But for sure, I could attest that. I know for me, there's some areas I don't get enough sleep, I don't think, and that affects, I can tell you there are days when it affects me in a big way. Like, I'll crash at certain points in the day because I didn't get enough sleep overnight. Injuries come up more when I'm not getting enough sleep. Just different things like that. So, and that's a habit right there, sleeping 7 hours a day, or 8 hours, 9 hours for some people. Yeah, it's a ritual. Yeah.
Shout out to my friend Dawn Allen, who is a sexy wellness fitness coach. She helps women get their sexy back if you're 45 or older. And one of the things that she recently taught a bunch of us who are in the same masterclass together, shout out to Darren Walker and his I Am masterclass, is she says, look, you lose weight in your sleep. So sleep is important. And I was like, oh man, like that's like a tip that will probably never leave my brain. And now I'm like, to your point, Winston, sleep is no longer like, oh, I need to get better at it. Now I'm like, man, how can I make it a habit? How can I make it a ritual? I like the word ritual too. How can I make sleep a ritual? Because I want to lose weight while I'm sleeping.
And you're underestimating that. People think if they're up, they're getting more done, but not if you're not running efficiently, not if your body is not, moving and doing things that it needs to be doing. And rest is a huge part of that. Like I said, injuries. I know a lot of clients that I've had that they're injury prone, but they work, 16, 17-hour days. It's insane. Yeah. And then I realized when that stuff affects them, it affects your stress levels. And I think we listened in one of the or something I heard recently, they were talking about stress and how it's affecting us.
100%.
Was it I can't remember. I think it was the last Monday rundown we did. He mentioned that.
Stress.
It was, right? Yeah, okay, cool. I knew that it was somewhere in my, how that stress is really, what did he say? It was from repeating stressful situations that keep the stress elevated for longer periods of time. So not just stress itself, it's being in these stress-induced situations for longer periods of time that's really affecting you and harming you health-wise.
And your health, yeah. 100%.
Yeah, so all right. So you want to dive into today's video and hear what they got to say?
Let us hear what they've got to say. I'm really excited for this one.
Habits kind of got a bad name in psychology. We're all focused on how creative and how amazing and how wonderful human minds are. Because your dogs learn through habits, they were viewed as too limited to apply to human performance. And it's not how we think about our behavior, right? Habits don't involve much conscious thought. Your dog doesn't have much conscious thought. I know it seems like they do, but they don't. But people are pretty simple as well. In research, we're able to show that people act on habits much more than we're aware of. My name's Wendy Wood, and I'm a behavioral scientist. I do research on habits and why they're so difficult to change. Back in the 1980s, some researchers wanted to convince people in a 4-story office building to start using the stairs. So they started just the way all of us would. They started trying to convince people. They put up signs. It's good to take the stairs. It's good for your health. It's bad to take the elevator. Waste energy. But the signs had no effect. So these very creative researchers decided, okay, let's try something different. They slowed the closing of the elevator door by 16 seconds. And that was enough to dissuade people. They reduced the elevator use by 1/3.
Wow.
And the wonderful thing about the study is when they put the elevator door back to its original speed, people kept taking the stairs because they had formed a habit to take the stairs and they just stuck with it. And it's an example of what psychologists have called friction, barriers to performing a behavior. Distance, time, and effort are all friction. Friction is really important in determining what behaviors we repeat, and so what behaviors become a habit. We think we go to the gym because we're concerned about fitness, We're determined, we exert willpower. So it feels like that's a good way to start to change our habits, right? Exert self-control and our habits will then change. But it doesn't work that way. Our habits are stored in a memory system that we don't have access to, we can't fuss with. It's a way of securing the most important information and protecting it from change. And so there's no way you can change that habit memory except through repetition of other behaviors. We repeat a behavior in a given context in the same way, and we get some reward. When we get a reward, our brain releases dopamine. Rewards get us to repeat behaviors and form habits. One of the really important things about behavior change is you have to work with what's around you. Habits reorganize the way we store information in memory. They form these associations between contexts. Professional chefs set up their stations before they start, making sure they have all of the ingredients, all of the utensils, pots and pans are there. They've read through the recipe. And it's a great metaphor for all of us when we go about changing our behavior. We really need an environment that would make it easier to actually achieve our goals. There's actually evidence that our habits help give us meaning in life. Rituals have a habit component. Some of the rituals we perform really are kind of automatic and habitual. Professional athletes provide some of the best examples of people who effectively use rituals. Baseball players are really well known for this, of having patterns of things they do before they go to bat. And what rituals give high-level athletes is a sense of control because they have something they repeat, they do it successfully. So it really does give them a sense of confidence. When we are in environments where we know what to do and we feel comfortable doing them, it allows us to effectively multitask. When we've practiced one thing enough so we don't have to think about it, then we can do other things. We can make sense out of our world.
These things get better and better, honestly.
I mean, come on, this is so good.
Yeah.
I love this. And again, I feel like she ended right when like I would have been like,
one more. Yeah.
Going, right? Like when we have a sense of control and we've created a habit, it allows the brain to shut off that part so we can now do
something else. Yeah.
Think about something else, like where we fit in the world, what's our purpose, like all of those things, because we do this other thing well.
Mm-hmm.
So good. And then last week we talked about, the video also talks about how athletes use rituals. I think it was Nadal.
Yeah, Nadal. Yeah. He's talking about moving the water bottle.
Right, because that gives him a sense of control, and how having a sense of control is so important for the self-talk, or what does he call it? He called it
the inner talk.
Your inner talk, right?
Your inner talk.
Inner chatter. Yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
And so, yes, it controls the inner chatter, but then also this, like it's the managing of the inner chatter creates a sense of control, right? Also doing something over and over again that you do well creates a sense of dopamine, a sense of control, and then we're allowed to like use the brain to think of like other things. I don't know. This is just like fascinating.
I love that both of these actually did tie in this week's and last week. We'll make sure that we'll link that one so you guys can go check out last week's episode. But this is really interesting how these both, they and it's funny we mentioned rituals, and then she ends with how rituals are the kind of the key to kind of getting control of this whole thing, you know?
So it's making me think of the other thing is she was like, friction, right? If things have less friction, then you're more likely to do the thing, especially if you're trying to create a new habit or create a new ritual, or to take yourself away from the bad habit, right? Like make more friction, and then you're less likely to do that. So I'm thinking with like the picking of my thumbs, what could I do to create friction? Is it like putting little gloves on my on my thumbs or something? I don't know, but whatever it is to make it more difficult to do, to get yourself to break out of doing that.
If your nails were painted, would you be less likely to do that?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it doesn't. I get the friction thing, but I would also think if you flip it, and here's something so interesting. I had a thought the other day. There's a way of looking at things, in terms of fitness. One of the things that they talk about in terms of creating a better environment is for somebody who's looking to lose weight, removing all the what we would consider bad foods from your home before you start the diet. But you can't just get rid of all the bad foods. You have to replace it with good options. Because if you just have nothing there to eat, your habit or your ritual is to just go out and go get more bad food. But if you have good food there,
use that in my house. Actually, just finish it, so my bowl is empty. But I buy like those little mandarins or tangerines, rather.
Yeah.
And I fill bowls in my house with it, so that way when I'm feeling peckish or like I want to
have something good to snack on.
Yeah, and then it's easily reachable, right? Like the friction is less. Now the bad snacks, the snacks that are salty, I have to go into the kitchen and do a whole thing to go get that. Meanwhile, this is right here, so I can just.
And here's the best. I love this. Why have the bad ones at all?
Well, yes, I know that.
No. Then that's neither here. But it's funny because again, when they talk about environment, it's like, think about the fact that you're aware that you call it bad and yet you still have it. It's like, why do we do those things? Like, why would we put ourselves in a position? And I think you mentioned it last week, is that risk factor. You know what I mean? It's like, it's there. I'm not going to eat it. It's like, but it's there. It's like, well, I'm not going to eat it. It's like, we want the little temptation or whatever.
Oh, flirting with.
You know what I mean? There you go. You talked about it last week. It's like, in my mind, it'd be like the simple answer is like, Janelle, just don't bring the bad food in your home. It's not like somebody else is buying.
So here's the thing. I know when I buy the bad food, I know I'm going to eat it. I buy it to eat it. So let's be clear. But
so here's the thing I wanted to touch on.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
So here's the thing I want to talk about. Why are you calling it bad then? And there's and shout out to the late Travis Just and his amazing wife, Brittany Just, who we had gone on one of their rock body retreats. And one of the things they touched on is about how we label things. And so in fitness, there's something called a cheat meal. I think many people probably use it as probably common knowledge now. It's like a cheat meal. And they started calling it a treat meal. And they were like, why are you calling it something that's negative when it's not? It's something you know you want to have. It's not bad that you have it. You just know you can't have it all the time. Does that make sense? You can have whatever your bad food is. You just know you can't eat it all the time. But if you can change how you look at it, it actually neurologically affects how, when you're eating the food, how it actually affects your body. Because if you think you shouldn't be eating something that you are eating, you're actually harming. Your cells actually have receptors that actually picks up on how you feel when you're eating things that you shouldn't be eating or should be eating. It's really, really interesting.
That is really interesting. I'm so glad that you said that.
Just be mindful. Enjoy whatever the snack is. Again, you know you can't. It's like when you tell me you can't do dairy. It's like your body responds in a way that allows you to not, you know what I mean, partaking something like that. But imagine if you could, you'd want to enjoy that experience, not. But in your mind right now, it's like, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? Because you already have a response to that.
What I've done is I've replaced what I would consider a poor option, like potato chips, with plantain chips. So in my mind,
delicious.
Right. Delicious. I'm like, it's a healthier option.
And
like
it is.
My brain, if the brain, like again, last week we talked about Dr. Amen. If I were to ask myself, is this good for my brain? I'd be like, yeah, this is definitely better for my brain than the potato chips. So the answer is yes, but I still put them I put more friction because I also,
and that's still good. Yeah.
Because I want to acknowledge how much salt intake I have. And so I just make it easier to get to the fruit. And it's not that it's, to your point, I shouldn't call it bad. It's not that it's bad. It's just that I want to like just be more
for Janelle's unique lifestyle. She requires less salt. That's all this is. Again, there's a version of you that could be like, who cares about any of that?
Yeah.
And just enjoy. No, seriously, but for the lifestyle that you're looking to create, the awareness you have around that topic says that it's not great for you to indulge in this item. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
Because then I indulge in some Korean ramen.
There we go. And it leads to
yeah.
And
that
you know that
I have like once a week, but I know that has a significant sodium intake. And so that's why I'm very aware of the sodium that
what you do in other areas. Yeah. And again, enjoy that. That one, I'm guaranteeing that one. Yeah, there you go. And you should. And so to anybody who has that, and I'll see if I can find some actual research to discuss what we just discussed. I think what you just mentioned about amen, he's touching on maybe the same exact subject, but maybe using different words to express it. Because what you just said sounds like exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's the emotions you have. So like even now when I'm having like a shake or I'm enjoying it. I'm not sitting there going, oh my God, this is going to be so much calories. Tomorrow I'm going to burn off. Like, why do that to yourself?
Yeah.
You might as well just not even have it if you're going to begrudge, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole aspect of eating it. And again, it's something I'm working on now. It's not something I've mastered, but it's just the more awareness around what are you saying when you're doing things? So what's that inner chatter going on while you're eating things or doing something that you're doing? Like listen to what's going on while you're doing it.
So good,
man. This has definitely been a really good one. I love these videos.
These are so good,
guys. Definitely make sure you guys keep sending us any content that you guys want us to check out. Yeah, please.
And so we'll end it here and remind you that as always, remember, you deserve the good life. Say that.
We'll see you guys next week. Peace.